why do you think that they are good storytellers? Like, what is it about?
What makes us a good storyteller or a good creator in general? I love this question from my girl Ty because I think so many of us have just come out of a healing journey. We've had so many awakenings and we are now being called to create. Part of the healing journey is now all of a sudden you have become one with source because you have stripped away all of the identities and titles that once gave you meaning but kept you stuck. And when you are feeling more one with source, source will work to create through you. And creation is part of being one with source. So many of us are on TikTok on our lunch breaks and we're creating different things. We're writing books. And I love this question, Ty, because I just finished writing the majority of a book I'm working on how to call in your soulmate. And to answer your question on what I think makes a good storyteller and what I've captured from different books that I've read and authors that I admire is number one, vulnerability. Understanding that your voice and your story is one unlike any other. It is so unique. There is not another one like it on planet Earth. And also, on top of that, you have divinely gifted ways of telling your story, ways of presenting to the world, ways of feeling emotions. And you need to express those in the way that you tell stories because there is not another Ty on this planet Earth. There is not another person just like you. You've been given the distinct abilities and gifts to tell your story in a way unlike anybody can. And the world needs your voice. There are a myriad of people out there in the world that feel and that see things in similar ways that you do. And they need to feel represented and they need to feel like they can have a lived experience through your story and feel more supported and feel less alone. And so I would tell you, stand on business that you have something very valuable that nobody else can bring to the world and step into that power as you're telling your story. Vulnerability is always king. It is often really hard to be honest about things we've gone through or experiences where we feel shame or guilt or we doubt ourselves. But those are the very stories that will free us and free other people. So it's like Joe Dispenza talks about, it is in the unknown and in the scary and uncomfortable that the best experiences and opportunities present themselves. That is quite literally where source works through us. So doing the healing work necessary to work through some of those limiting beliefs that have kept us quiet and kept us scared to be vulnerable so that we can talk about our own stories and our own experiences. And that is really the answer to your question. What makes a great storyteller? I think it's somebody that can weave in their own experiences and then apply them to a higher ideal. So some authors that I really love that do this are Glennon Doyle, who wrote Untamed, which I recommend every woman read that book, especially if they're going through an awakening. I also love Elizabeth Gilbert. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love, amongst several other books. But these are strong women that have gone through their lives not always making the best decisions. Glennon Doyle talks about how she was an addict for the first half of her life. Elizabeth Gilbert talks about her relationships that she had where she played small and looked to outside sources to find love. One of my favorite books is Wild by Cheryl yet another really powerful woman who talks about drug abuse in her early years and how she had infidelity with her husband and the guilt and shame she felt about that. And that must have been extremely hard for her to talk about and to admit, but in doing so, she made so many other women who are lost, who are playing small, who have not yet found their voice and have had to, in survival mode, make decisions that they regret, how that transformed into power, how she alchemized that into becoming a best-selling author, helping other women. These women are powerhouses. They are full of wisdom, and it is because of, not in spite of, the bad choices that they made or the things that they went through where they weren't always performing at their best, highest level. And I think when we can come to terms with those things and truly share them in bravery and authenticity, we can truly create the catalyst to change the world, to change people on a micro level, and then to change the world on a macro, and to help people connect with each other and become a more cohesive unit as a community. So I hope this helps, Ty. These are the things that I strive to be in my own writing and in my own creating: authentic, vulnerable, and sharing my own story in tandem with other thought leaders and their wisdom.